Hey guys, back again with another Battlefield 3 tips and tricks. This episode is going to be about the M4A1 and why it, in my opinion, is the best gun for engineering. Most people really use this gun, but aren't really that good at it, because they probably don't really know what its strengths and weaknesses are, so hopefully I'll be able to cover that. Well, first off, it's both automatic and semi-automatic. It's short, medium, and long range, depending on how you're good at it, but for close range, don't burst fire. Medium range, it depends on how close you are, like what kind of scope. You can spam it a little bit, but if it's medium to long range, just burst fire it. It has a 800 rounds per minute for its rate of fire. Its ammo is 30 rounds per magazine with 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO rounds. Also the same thing as the F2000, which is in a previous episode. What it's best with is a suppressor with Cobra, reflex, grip, heavy barrel tactical light, laser sight, flash suppressor, PKA, S scope, ACOG scope, bipod, and infrared. Now, this is just my opinion. This is what I recommend, but what I really do recommend, is either Cobra or the reflex, because those ones are really good at close quarters and long range. And the reflex I'm using right now is really good. Just overall, I mean, it only have one dot that you actually have to place on somebody. And it's really good, because once you get it on there, all you have to do is pull the trigger, and you basically got yourself a good gun. But the grip keeps the accuracy extremely low, as well as the recoil extremely low as well. Because with the recoil, the less amount of recoil you have, the more accuracy you have, which makes it a lot better to fire at people. That's basically the only things that I really recommend with this gun, but with this gun is only good if you really are being aggressive with it. It can be good if you're just being defensive with it and staying back and laying low, but it's more of a good rush weapon. But with this gun, you want to stay extremely close to cover, because if you're not staying behind cover, you're going to be getting shot at a lot, and you're really just going to be putting yourself out into the open, which is not a very smart idea. But with this gun is that you can stay in minimum cover and still be able to fire back effectively. But you really just got to work with your team with this gun, because this gun can pave the way for your team to move back. Not only that, but the secondary, the M9 that I recommend is tactical light, so that way you can blind them and just cause them to hesitate, is good. Also good as a secondary, because if you put a whole clip into somebody, or a group of people, all you can do is switch to your secondary and then just start opening fire, and they really won't be able to see you that well because they have the flashlight on. That and the RPG is pretty good, because you can not necessarily shoot down helicopters, but you can, well, I mean, if you get lucky, you can. Also good for anti-tanks and or just groups of people hiding behind cover. Also, how you should use this gun is, well, just long, medium, and close range. Just use this gun as most people use it. But for extremely long range, I don't do it. I usually burst fire, but you can use the semi-automatic bursts, which is not, in my opinion, is not a very smart idea, because, you know, I mean, if you have to have somebody starts flanking you, you're probably just gonna keep firing at the long range person. So you're just going to be firing one bullet, holding down a trigger, and you're going to die. So you probably just want to keep it on the full autos and just burst it from there. Now, for what I recommend, if it's 5 feet or less, just no burst fire, just fire from the hip or aim in and fire, and just spam it. If it's about 5 to 10 feet, just do maybe about 5 to 6 rounds per burst. If it's 8 to, let's say, 15 feet, you just burst it, I'd say about 3 to 5 shots per burst. If it's 20 feet and above, just do 2 to 3 bursts. This is just what I recommend. This is usually what I do in super long ranges and stuff, but you just really gotta estimate where you're gonna be firing, And also, just think about where you're placing your reticle and just how you're going to use this gun before the match. And just be extra careful with what kind of attachments you're going to have on it, because it could end up saving your life later, and you could end up getting a lot of points. Now, also, what most people don't really do with this gun is they just sit back and go for just be an instant kill for it. That's not what you want. With this gun, it's like an instant PTFO gun. And it's like one of the biggest objective-based guns you can get in this game, next to the M16. The M4 is basically the same thing as this. It's just two-shot burst, and so is like the M16A4. But that's like, I'll cover that in the next couple of videos. But with this gun it's really good if you're just deciding to take charge of the team. Because it's one of the most reliable guns in the game that nobody really realizes that, and it's just not really much people use it that much. Basically, you can just turn this gun into a complete monster, basically. But what you have to do with this gun is you just have to take it and just think about it. Like, really think about how you're going to use the gun and where you're going to position yourself in on the map and how you can use it to the best of your abilities. Now, what I don't like about this gun is basically it's the rate of fire it has. Like, it's pretty fast firing, but it could be increased a little bit more so that way you could deal a lot more damage. And another thing that I'm not really a super fan about is how, like, it's kind of hard to use on some maps. Like, it's not like super durable on some maps, like on Gulf of Oman, like the wide open areas. It's kind of hard because you can't really see that much people because they're all gonna be like in the buildings, and there's very small openings that you can use to actually get onto it. But for this mobility, and it's just basically how it works well, is basically I give it about an 8 out of 10. The rate of fire and damage and that kind of thing, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10 because it does do a pretty good amount of damage, but the rate of fire is still pretty low. It could be better if it'd be like maybe like 850 rounds per minute would be good. Just to increase the amount of ROF or rate of fire would be pretty decent with it. But that's basically it for this video. Thanks guys. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and
enemy soldier spotted. Over. I've got an enemy soldier.